good Sunday afternoon and or evening. Jump back into our D&D 5e campaign. Last we had left off, you guys concluded the battle over the ocean with the two dragons, the red dragon, black dragon that had been accosting the coastal draconian city of Drillheim for some time. You, alongside the Draconians and the Falfnimloth, Draconians taking their last stand against the creatures, had bested the dragons. One of them taken out of the battle pretty early with the Winghaver Stopper, and the black dragon taking a bit longer to subdue, which had also in the process taken out the Draconians' last battleship. Thankfully, they had been saved by the combined effort of Durand and Elevorn. Afterwards, you guys decided to venture into the ocean to perhaps retrieve the used Winghaver Stopper from the deceased corpse of the red dragon who had been ensnared within it. And you did so with very little trouble whatsoever, I think, and that's where we left off. So you guys are still, I guess everyone now is heading back towards the port of Drillheim. And unless there's anything else for you guys to do on the ocean here, after retrieving the Winghaver Stopper, escaping from the large sea serpent, is that what you guys wish to do as well?
Yeah. I think we got all we needed from out here. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once we're on the surface, could I turn into a unicorn? Like, to explain to everybody, and loop us like a mile towards shore? Just to make sure?
Sure, just to get as far away as possible. Just to make sure it's not tracking you down. Sure. So, with your water walking still in play, you're all standing on the surface of the ocean. Elevorn transforms into a unicorn, and with a moment of shimmering fey magic that encircles her and engulfs the rest of you, you find yourselves teleported instantaneously about a mile closer to shore. Still standing on the ocean, but now a good bit closer. Continue the travel there, and it's still pretty much middle of the night, if not very, very early hours of the morning, as with the assistance of the Draconians sort of guiding the ships in, the Falfnimloth, and then a little ways later, as they had been trailing them, the rest of the fleet begins to pull into the port of Drillheim. And both the Empire and the Draconians both help in mooring those ships. The Draconians themselves have been recouping and gathering themselves, as a lot of them had been lost during the battle due to their ship being basically torn apart by the Black Dragon. So they're gathering and dealing with their injured, wounded, and refocusing themselves. You can see Juka there, the leader of the Draconians here in Drillheim, is taking charge and directing people where to go, finding the ones that are able-bodied enough to help moor the ships, and you can quickly see as the ships get moored and the Imperial Navy and the people begin to make their way across the gangplank onto the docks of Drillheim, a sort of gathering of the leadership is taking place. You can see the captain the admiral, what you assume are the captains of the other Imperial ships, as well as Juka and the brass dragonborn that you remember him introducing to you as Vos, his sort of right hand, are currently in a discussion with the rest of the Empire. Seems the Empire obviously is a bit taken aback by the state of Drillheim. They weren't quite expecting to be arriving to Draconia to this. But anyways, you guys are all on or around the docks of Drillheim. Is there anything you want to do tonight? You guys want to find somewhere to rest? I mean, the ship's right there. It's up to you how much you wish to pursue tonight.
I have a super important question,
Okay?
which I think Elevon would probably test out.
Mm-hmm.
So if we walk on water and the
Mhm.
ships are pulling in and they're making like waves, what does that do? Can you like slide on them?
What do you mean slide on them?
Like on the wake of the boats. Like, probably as a unicorn, I'd be out there stumbling around.
Well, I mean, gravity is still a thing.
I know.
So,
So I was like, what would happen?
what would happen? The waves would be, maybe depending on like the speed and size of them, probably even more dangerous, because to you they'd be, I guess, more like solid ground coming at you, since you could walk on them. It doesn't allow you to defy gravity. Walk on water doesn't mean
Oh,
you
I
can
know.
walk,
I just
walk
was
up
like-
a wave.
No, I meant like if you timed it right. Like if you were, you know.
Oh, if you timed it right, could you just like run up? Sure, depending on your acrobatics and or athletics, you could probably.
I was just wondering how that interaction, you know, because I was like, what happens? Because it's like
So you
waves
you
and-
want to ride the wave, like just standing on top of the wave, just
Yeah. No.
That cartoon style
Yeah.
surfing.
just standing on top of the wave as it rides, and there you go. Exactly. That probably is what would happen with water walking. Yeah. Does that answer your very important question?
I'm sorry, I was really wondering.
Fine.
I know there's other more important things going on. Like probably we should find out what all the important people are talking about.
What It's up to y'all.
I will point them out with my unicorn head. You know what?
Point them out with my unicorn head.
Yeah, because I'm a unicorn. I'm not gonna.
Yes.
Well, I could raise my hoof like, you know, in My Little Pony and like gesture at stuff, but that's weird. Weirder. So I'm just like, you know.
Nodding towards the horn points in the direction of the congregation of leadership. But you don't have to butt into their conversation if you don't want to. I'm just asking if you guys want to try to find a place to rest, or if there's anybody that you want to immediately find, talk to, anything you want to do in the immediate aftermath of the fleet finally arriving in Drillheim.
The Empire did not expect this place to be
I don't hear myself.
So I assume we're gonna head back into like the cave or whatever, or are people regrouping to have conversations there?
If you wanted to head back into the cave, you
Um,
could. The ships are here in port, though, so I mean, you could.
Well, okay, so I'll just I'd like to just kind of get some privacy for myself, I guess, for a
Sure.
little bit. Let me look at my spells. Hold on, I want to see if I can do something. Oh, okay. Wait.
Era walks away and just starts flipping through her spell book.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to use. I'd like to send a message to my sister.
Okay.
It's using a 4th level. The last
Alright.
one.
Sure.
So everything worked out, and I mean, for now, we're still okay. How is everything on your end?
A tired sounding response, almost as if she had either just woken up to your message or has been awake for far too long. I mean, as normal as things can be since everything went to shit. It's good to hear that you're alright, even though I still don't think you should be here at all.
I'll send another one.
Okay.
Have you been able to rest? I don't think there's a way for us to leave. Not now, not like this. But I'll check in every once in a while.
You don't need to worry about me. It's just difficult traveling. There's not many safe places left. But we're on our way to one, at least what we hear is one, so we should be fine.
Another.
You have this many more? All right.
I'm using my 6th level spell slot.
Okay.
Well, whenever you move, wherever you go, just keep me updated. I know you said not to worry, but well, I mean, how else can I show off if you're not there?
Ooh. I mean, the updates aren't really up to me to decide when they happen. You're the one with the ability to allow yourself into other people's minds. If I can. When you do, I'll give you the pleasure of answering.
I'll use my 7th level.
My 8th level sending spell.
It's
You would think that, with higher level, it would let you do more words, but no.
No.
Nope. Just sending is sending. That's it. Maybe you should create a spell, like make a spell that just allows you to have a full conversation. That would be a very era spell to have.
Yes.
We just get her a bracelet too.
There you go.
You know.
Correct. Just no, it's limited. Anyways, besides that, good night and stay safe.
You as well. Alright. That was a good use of whatever level spell slot you used.
Thank you.
That last one to say goodnight. Yeah, 8th level spell.
Yeah.
And then the dragon attack again.
Bueno.
Alright. So. Keep it going.
Okay, so Elevorn is kind of starting to play charades
Mm-hmm.
as a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of remembers that she's thinking in her head, looking at Durand, this is really difficult. And then she it goes to him.
Yeah. Yep, because you could say that. And then, Duran probably responds. So, Durand, you hear Elahorn say via the telepathy, this is really difficult.
What is difficult?
All right, I forgot. Right, okay. So, do you think we should? Do you want to? I feel you're tired. We could go rest, but your people. These aren't exactly your people, but they're kind of your people-ish. I don't
All
know.
Dragonborn look-alike or something?
Well, they kind of. You're the leader. I don't know. They spoke to you mostly. I don't understand them.
Yeah, I am tired, but I can spare a few conversations. So,
You don't have to, but I just, like, if I went over there, I wouldn't know what they're saying, really. I could talk to them in their heads, and maybe they would speak common to me, but I don't know.
Telepathy doesn't auto-translate languages.
no?
Nope.
With all the
The
AI in the
abilities-
world?
With all the AI in the world. I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh, yeah. I can try to get a grasp on what's going on, maybe what we'll have to do moving forward.
Also, more important than that, I thought you died. I couldn't find you anywhere, and then I was like, oh, well, I could, just I could help these people, these Dragonborn, because I couldn't find you anywhere. And of course, I was just swimming around like a drake, but, it,
Well, thankfully, took a couple of seconds to realize that didn't really need air underwater, thanks to you, so I didn't need to panic too much.
And while Elvorn is saying this, she's like stamping around, like she's like trampling on little tiny things or something, because she's all excited. Not excited. She's like freaking out a little.
Excited.
Not. She's just like like it was scary to her. And she's like relieved, and like I was just like it'd be like strange to see a unicorn, like trying to squish bugs or something, because that's basically what it looks like.
Excited. Nervous. Alright,
That is
so
interesting.
this here is not just your people, Duran. It's Juka, some of the other ones. Juka and Vos, the two Dragonborn from the cave, from the Draconians that seem to be the points of authority for the Draconians, and they are meeting with the leadership from the Empire. So the captain from the Falcon Loft, the admiral that you all had met with, and some others as well.
Well, if I can meet with them, I will. I imagine
Okay.
they'll speak common if everyone else is coming along,
Yes.
but I'd want to be involved anyways.
Okay. So you walk up, and right now there are 5 people in this little conversation group. You can see the conversation mainly at this point is sort of it seems like that the members of the Empire, specifically the Admiral, is leading up the conversation and is mostly just asking questions of Juka and Vos, who are answering in kind. As you approach, your presence is noted, and the captain from the Falcon Loft says, "Oh, here he comes now. This is the one that I was speaking of earlier, although from the sounds of it, we are all pretty familiar. Durand, come, we have things to discuss."
Yeah, of course.
So, without missing a beat as you approach within conversation range, the admiral picks up where the captain had left off. We were speaking with our friends from Draconia here, and feel like it is in both of our nations' best interest to fortify, or at least not to abandon Drillheim, as it seems to be one of the major, if not the major port in this area of the country. That, and as you're aware, our main goal here for the Empire was to reestablish naval trade with the Draconians. Drillheim is a key strategic point for doing that. However, it is important as well to figure out as much as we can on what is going on in the country currently. What these dragons are doing, whether or not it's random, or if they have any sort of direction, guidance, reason behind what they are doing, and how, if at all, the Draconians are putting up resistance to them, and if they have plans on how to stop these dragons. So, after speaking with Juka and Vos, it seemed best that we have a group stay in Drillheim to fortify it, to turn it into an outpost as sorts, and attempt to get it back to its previous level of functionality, and to send another group to the Draconian capital of Metachroma to gather the information that we would need to better understand the situation and make decisions going forward. The captain informed me that you and your group of friends, allies, have particularly useful skills and abilities that would allow for quicker or safer travel, especially through tumultuous and unknown lands such as these. And so, if you would agree, I cannot order you, nor would I expect you to follow a command to venture into potentially dangerous wildernesses simply on my word alone, but I would like to offer that course of action for you and your group, as well as, and he points towards Juka, who says, if you were to go, I would like you to take Vos along with you. He can speak to our people in Metachroma in more detail with what has happened here and what is going on and what we may need.
If that's our best course of action, I mean, I'll run it through with the others, but that sounds fine by me.
Right now, it's between fortifying and making sure that this area is safe, the area of Drillheim and the surrounding areas, or continuing on to Metachroma to figure out exactly what is going on here in Draconia. And it just seemed like your smaller, more versatile group would be best for making the long journey. How long did you say it was to Metachroma, Juka? Normal travel by foot, around 3 weeks or so.
can probably cut that by a bit. I imagine if Lauren's with me, she would agree.
Eleanor is kind of behind you and she nods, because she followed you over, but she's not like just, a unicorn standing in a circle with you guys.
I don't have any. I don't believe the others would disagree.
And you hear in your head, you could ask them, with your bracelet.
Oh,
Or I
right.
could ask them from here, maybe. I don't know, how close are they?
What's the range on your telepathy?
It's like 60 feet.
I don't know where they are. I think Era walked off on her own, so probably not Era.
At any rate, I've been reminded. I will just use the bracelet and
Okay.
say, are you guys ready? Well, not right now, but probably tomorrow. Ready to set out again to unknown territories.
Does it involve swimming?
Does it involve swimming?
I don't think it really matters actually because I'm going, but Jesus Christ, I'm
Like-
so tired of water already.
Like covering the bracelet as if I'm on a phone call.
Yeah.
Does it involve any
involve
swimming?
Swimming? Well, Juka says, when the path to Metkorma from here normally involves traveling over land, there are rivers and lakes and other bodies of water you could find on the way, but it shouldn't be necessary to cross.
Okay. Back to the bracelet.
Back to the phone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
put it back.
Okay.
Sorry.
Gotta take this.
No, no ocean travel at least.
Okay, that's good.
As long as we're getting the proper rest before we do anything else, then of course I'm gonna follow the group. So.
Alright. Well, you got your answers, I guess? Well, if you decide to take this and go, then you can provide the speed as well as the safety, and Vos can guide you to Medchroma. When you get there, figure out what you can and relay anything and everything that you deem important, and even what you don't, back to us via Linissa and the Academy. I assume that your wizard can send messages as such.
Oh yeah, that should be no problem.
Right. Until then, we are going to work to fortify this place. Scout the surrounding areas, make sure that there's nothing else lurking out there that could pose a threat. And once we have sufficiently fortified Drillheim, and once we hear back from you, then we'll know how to proceed. Know where the Draconians may need us, and how we can do our best to assist them. But you look like you could use some rest, so we'll figure out any of the remaining details in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds actually pretty good.
Anything else before beddy time?
I got nothing.
Alright. So, back on the ship. I guess you guys can go rest if you want. If you don't want to go back on the ship, you can find a cave or an abandoned house or something. I don't know. Up to you. You still have enough time. You could probably sleep on the ocean if you wanted with water walking. I don't know. Maybe. You have options, is what I'm saying. So, you guys get your rest. Go ahead and restore your hit points and spell slots and anything you regain on a short or long rest. Morning comes. You guys want to do anything? Just meet up and head off. So, any conversations, anything that you guys want to do once while in Drillheim, or are we ready to move on along? You guys wake up and let's say you meet up together, grab a bite to eat, spot to drink, and you are, you can discuss your plan, your path forward, or anything you guys want to do. It's the world is your something.
Well, of course, Elivern's going to go look for trees. Good
Okay.
trees.
All right. So, not difficult to find trees, but ones that are specifically large enough for your purposes. Does take a while. There are trees in the city, but none of them particularly large. Most of them are actually quite thin, long, thin trees. And it's those type of trees that make up the majority of like the hill and mountainside that covers the cave entrance as well. It's a pretty densely covered with trees, but it's not until you get near the top of that where you guys had find that makeshift sort of light for guiding ships, that large sort of torch that they had used as a lighthouse kind of, that you find a tree up there that is large enough to suit your purpose. It does take you, a solid hour and a half or so of your morning just to make the trip and find it. And by the time you get to the top of the hill, you got a sufficient morning workout in from it.
So once I find that, I'm gonna, of course, examine it and everything. And then after that, I'm going to use the bracelet and be like, hey, Durand, how do I make sure nobody messes with this tree? I mean, because there's a fire over there, and I just don't want them to chop this one down. Or there was a fire over there. I don't know, but it was where they did the whole light thingy on the cliff, kind of, I just didn't want it used for kindling.
I suppose we should inform Juka that for our purposes of navigating the world quicker, this tree shouldn't be touched.
And don't explain it at all, just leave it at that.
I said for the purposes of navigating the world quicker.
Oh, that helps.
It's plenty enough.
If I'm asked for further detail, I can explain.
I mean, I could try to see if I could open a thing to somewhere to see if it works for home, if you want it. I mean, as a demonstration.
I mean, as nice as that would be, I think um, your magics might be required on the travel.
How many times can you use that in a day now, Elephant? What are we up to for the amount of times that you could walk through trees?
Three? Three.
I don't know. You could try to spare one, or you could try. I don't know. It's up to you. It's totally your call.
Well, I would want like people here to show them if it does work.
Well, yeah.
It might fizzle though, I understand. I mean, we can't send messages back and forth. What makes me think that the tree teleporting might work from, like...
There's literally only one way to find out.
I know, I want to find out. I'm really curious. And, this
All
could
right.
just be Elevorn talking to herself in the bracelet.
So, you're like, hey, everybody, make the hike up the mountain. I want to show something to you. Make the hike up this hill.
Well, and if we could spare someone who would want to, like, keep the tree intact
Well, you said, like,
for us.
Juka. You
Yeah.
could, yeah.
Yeah. That person. Do Juka.
All right. Anyone else going up the hill?
I'd actually, well, I guess I'll talk into the bracelet. Not to pry in the conversation or anything. I mean, I know you're talking to all of us, but I did need to speak with Juka over something. So if you wanted me to mention that, I can, unless you want me on the hill first, or I mean,
Someone
But-
get Juka. Both. Both go to Juka and get on the hill first. Which one?
Which
Go talk to Juka and then come to the hill.
Oh, okay.
Or
Where's the
whatever.
tree exactly, so I can let him know which tree?
Elevorn is spinning in circles, holding the button, like, like walking around.
Walking around. It's like 3 minutes away from the point where you could actually like overlook and see the ocean and the city itself. So it's a little ways into the tree line once you get to the top of the hill, but not too far in.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Elevorn to repeat all of that when I need to, and in that time frame. Okay.
Okay.
Wait.
So then you're gonna go find Juka.
Yeah.
All right. You find him in the cave where they are starting to bring the supplies. People are moving like crates and bags, sacks of supplies out from the cave and back towards the city itself. In the morning, you noticed the city, pieces of like broken, destroyed buildings were being salvaged for scrap and wood, and they had also been moving that out of the city, basically setting up, building new structures, fortifications, and essentially turning the city into more of just a outpost, as there are not nearly enough people here to maintain an entire city, as the population had evacuated some time ago. But they are repurposing the city to just set it up as a defensive point, more or less. But you find Juka.
Do you have a moment?
He shouts out, he finishes calling out instructions in Draconic, which you can understand. Bless you. Take those to the docks, and the rest we're going to stage in the northeast quadrant of the city. I believe that we could use that for shoring up the walls over there. And then in common, yes, Era, how can I help you?
I had a question, but looking at what you're doing here, I kind of have the answer. The people that have evacuated, do you happen to know where they went or if there are any safe points at this time? I mean, I imagine you don't. Anyways.
When we sent them out, the intent was for them to make their way to Medcroma, the capital city, as if anywhere would be safe, it would be there. However, it is a long walk, especially if the road is dangerous, and so they may have found other places, stopped elsewhere for shelter or safety, or not made it at all. I cannot say.
One moment. I'm gonna use a. Do we have like a general idea or some form of map?
What are you trying to figure out?
Just in general, like a general map. Because if not, then I would ask to see if we can even get like a drawn one to kind of get a better idea of the outlay.
Where you're going?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be anywhere specific.
Yeah, you don't have a map. But you can get a general idea of where it is. And you just drive it to you. Like, the map is getting filled in as you guys explore it. So, you guys are in Drillheim, right? Okay, Drillheim. That's that one right there on the coast, because it's a coastal city. And then all the way down there, that's Metchrome.
Okay. Just beeline it straight.
Yeah, maybe. There might be a forest or a lake or a river.
It doesn't matter. Just walk through it.
Just walk over it. Just swim. Just swim. I was promised there would be no swimming.
Well, okay. Well, have you been? I mean, if you've been there, we can't get maybe a general sense of the land, no?
I cannot say what may or may not have changed in the time since I had been there. It has been a number of months. Before all of this started was the last time I was there. You will have Voss with you to guide you, and even if some things have changed and the terrain has become a bit more difficult, still be familiar enough to lead you in the right direction.
Okay. Well, Elevorn is doing something with the tree. Wait. I'm gonna use the bracelet again and be like, Elevorn, what area did you tell me to? I forgot.
It is up by the lighthouse thing.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
up by the
big,
lighthouse.
The big fire that they lit last night.
Okay, so you relay that. I'm familiar with the area, but what is this about a tree?
She has an ability that will be able to assist with transportation in a sense with trees.
Well, if she can make transporting trees easier, that certainly would help if we need to gather more resources. So, thank you.
I'll talk to him. He said thank you.
What? What? Why?
He seems to wait. So it's not.
Basically, it opens a portal from one place to another.
Yeah.
They have to have a tree to do it. A living tree.
So yeah, it's not exactly like that, but maybe I should have my sentence before I spoke loud. But essentially, it's as she says, which you can't hear her, but it's a portal. It's limited. Oh yeah, I mean the trees are alive, but trees have to be alive.
So, something about
It's
the one.
so no, so just in a sense, guard the tree. Don't let anybody interact with it. Don't like
Which tree?
the one by the lighthouse.
There are many trees at the top of the hill. And I mean, if it is important, not exactly sure to what end its important lies, but if it is important to you, then I will. It should not be that much of an issue. I would still, I suppose, like to know which tree in particular is so important to you and Elavorn.
Well, I guess we can put like a marker or something on it. Not an actual marker, but maybe something to differentiate the tree from the other trees.
Certainly. Just let me know what you have marked the tree with, and I'll make sure that it is not disturbed.
I held on to the button of the braces as I said that, so everyone else could hear it too.
Okay.
Are you almost here?
No, I gotta go, but
I mean, you're bringing him too, right? Is he coming?
oh,
Or what's...
you want him on the hill? Okay, well, you know what? That wouldn't make sense. Okay, but I'm gonna press the button again. Do you want me to bring him? Is
I'm hungry.
Just bring him.
Okay, all right. Actually, we need you with us. If you could follow us. I'm sorry, I didn't. I maybe wasn't the best person to bring. It's fine. Anyways, I need you. We need you. I mean, let's go.
One moment, and he speaks with Voss, who is maybe about 30 feet away dealing with something else. You can barely hear him. He's like, yeah, they need me for something. I'm not quite sure. Take care of things here. I'll be back as soon as I can. It shouldn't be too long. And then he comes back up to you. All right, let's go. And so you guys make your way. Era and Juka make their way out of the cave.
My hat.
What?
I didn't expect to interact with people that way.
I don't know if you thought like that pressing the button meant that he could hear them too, but that's not how it works.
No,
So
I know he doesn't.
You're not putting the bracelet on speaker. That's not how it...
No, I know. Exactly. I know.
Just...
Can we upgrade these things?
Can we upgrade these? I want you to hear what's going on in my head. Just have it play out loud every time. Is that an upgrade? That seems like you guys wouldn't... It would give you away in many scenarios that you don't want to.
I mean, there's a different button for it.
Oh, you need a
Log
different
in.
button. Okay, we're doing the
Listen.
eye brace 3. We need to upgrade it.
It's the morning. I'm still exhausted, tired. I can't form sentences today. This is just how it's gonna be.
Is this Era or Mags?
No.
Both.
Alright. So you begin to make your way up the tree, up the hill towards the tree, and yes. Is anybody else making the journey up? Or is it just going to be Elavorn, Era, and Juka top of the hill? Let's say it's just the three of you. So, let's say mid to late morning is when Era, Elavorn, and Juka, you find yourselves standing atop the hill in front of the tree that is wide enough for your purposes, Elavorn.
Oh, hi! I'm waving at them. If there's a walking up, I'm kind of, bouncing around excited because I'm like, thinking I'm gonna get to see Abigail again,
Mm-hmm.
And also maybe a little bit sad occasionally, thinking that it might not work. Actually, I do have a random thing because I was thinking that maybe no, I guess maybe I didn't do that. I was thinking maybe I found a tree like down on the beach, but I don't think I did.
You didn't find a tree on the beach, no? Not like a transport via plants tree, at least.
Yeah, I was just double checking it. I think I was thinking about going to look for a tree, but I don't think I actually did at that time.
Okay. Alright. So, this is the tree. It's quite a big one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has to be kind of big because, you walk through it. So it's, you know, yeah, important that it's big. Because, you're not little. And I mean, I'm not that little. So, yeah. Anyway,
Oh, I think I understand. I apologize, Era. I think I may have misunderstood what you were trying to tell me earlier. Okay.
I accept your apology.
Obviously, it was your interpretation that was wrong.
Elvorn kind of like cocks her head to the side, a little curious at that, because she
Mhm.
wasn't there for your conversation. Well, she heard parts of it,
Parts, not
not
that
all
part,
of
but,
it.
yep.
No.
Alright, well, okay. I still believe that we should mark it in some way, just so it is known that this tree is not to be disturbed. Although I do not believe that we would normally be using it anyway. Normally for the flames up here, we use smaller trees, and for whatever we may want to do with renovations and construction down in the city, we would certainly choose closer ones before making the trek all the way up the hill. Either which way, we'll make sure that it's not bothered.
Thank you. And, like communications between here and the other, the Empire? I think it's referred to as where we came from. Like magic communications don't work, so I don't know if this is going to work, but I thought if it did, it would show you. So,
Certainly, that
I'm-
would clear up any confusion I have.
Okay, so I'm gonna put my hand on the tree and cast transport via plants.
Alright, you cast it. What tree are you focusing on?
The one in Ambervale.
The one in Ambervale? Okay. So, you cast transport via plants. You guys, Era and Juga watch as the bit of nature energy makes its way through and around like the crevices in between the bark of the tree, making it glow ever so slightly before, as normal, the bark of the tree begins to recede and split apart, opening up a portal. And as it comes out, it's getting larger and larger, maybe about to the size of about a small watermelon, let's say, before something happens. The magic is interrupted, and the bark in the tree seals itself, and the portal closes. Spell slot expended, but the spell has failed.
Yeah, I guess you can't go back there from here, but probably from here, I mean, in this place that we're at now, since we're traveling to the capital, I'll make a point to find more trees, and I'm sure we'd be able to travel between those here, probably.
Sure exactly what I had just seen, but if you're saying that this tree could be used as gateway between Drillheim and the capital, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I can only do it a few times a day, but, you know, it didn't work going back to home because there's something in the way, some kind of magic. I don't, something didn't. I guess it's probably whatever makes talking difficult, you know, magically, from here to there.
That's not something that I understand entirely, but I will take your word for it. Obviously, you seem a little distraught, so hopefully whatever is interfering, I know it wasn't always, so it will pass so we can find a way to clear this obstruction.
Yeah, I think maybe eventually, you know, right, Tara? You think we could probably fix it? Maybe? Sometime? Or at least figure out what's doing it.
We will. I mean, even with this, we learn more. So now we know. It's still a good thing.
Oh, you sent people away. Did you send them in a direction? Like when, because I think you were saying something about sending the people in the town away, right?
Well, we had evacuated the city once. It seemed like its destruction was unavoidable. They left with the intent of reaching Metchroma, our capital city. Figured if there was any place that would be well fortified and defended against the attacks of dragons, it would be Metchroma. There's no saying how many, if any, actually made it that far.
Well, if we find any, do you want them to come back? I mean, would it be okay if I found a way to send them here to this spot? Would that be good, or should I not do that?
It's too soon to tell. We are still unsure as to whether there's any other threats that's yet loom over or outside of Drillheim. With the Empire here, and we should be able to figure that out relatively quickly. But at this point, it's as much as we want to restore Drillheim to what it was before and return it to its proper functionality, it's too quick to say. Hopefully by the time you arrive in Metchroma, if others had gotten there as well, we would be able to provide you with an answer, but it's been less than a day. It's too soon.
Oh, yeah, that's probably... Yeah, I can see that. Sorry.
It is no problem. So what would you like to mark this tree with, so I could pass it along, that not to bother the tree with that mark?
Over at my, and then just buy like a branch
Mark the tree with a branch.
with the cape, with like a torn piece.
So
Could
bit of.
I-
Hmm?
Oh, well, while she's doing, when she does that, I'll wait for her to finish.
Okay. So,
I mean, I can
like,
always.
Era's answer to everything is to rip her cloak. So a bit of the Phoenix Academy cloth over the branch as snugly and securely as you can. Is that what I'm getting? What are you doing? I'm trying to understand. Just to be.
We could also, yeah, but we could also like the ground unless you.
I was thinking I could use, like, druid craft and, like, plant growth maybe and just make, like an archway or something. Like, so the vines grow up the tree a little, not to restrict it, but, just so that it looks, with flowers and things.
Perfect. I like that.
So
And if her
vines
part of
growing up
the
the tree.
cloth is there, it would also hold that up.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So the flowery vine-covered tree is the one you don't mess with. Is what
Yes.
we're saying. Okay,
Mhm.
got it. All right. Sure, no one would misunderstand that. Alright, well, if there's nothing else, then there's a lot to be done.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for bringing him. I turned to Aaron and I was like, thank you for coming. I thought if I showed you, it'd make more sense because it's a little different,
Yes,
but it didn't
for
quite
some
work.
reason I thought Tara was telling me you had some ability that could move trees, but I don't know where that came from, so I'm glad I did make the trip. This makes a lot more sense, and, well, I hope that you get to Medcoma sooner rather than later then, as soon as we could open this gateway that changes, I assume, a lot, as traveling, from what I understand, has become quite dangerous. So if we could link our cities together without having to travel through the open wildernesses, we may be able to better defend ourselves.
The connection doesn't last too awfully long, but it, we've transported like goods and things before, but it's useful, yeah. And that's why I wanted to find a tree here first before we left, and then to make sure that it would stay. Because usually, like, I don't worry too much because they're just out in the wilderness, but because we're near town, and I just wanted you to know, just in case.
Well,
And also, if something happens, this would be where we would send somebody if we found injured people, or because this would be the closest place to somewhere where they could be helped,
well, then I suppose we should have somebody either up here as a watch, or at least making regular trips up to this place. It's good to know as
I
well.
don't think we would just put somebody through the tree and not tell you. Usually we would try to tell you first, but yeah, I mean, this is an ability that has come in handy, very often, so.
I can understand why. Well, have you decided? I'm not sure if Durand has spoken with you, but have you decided what it is that you will do? As at this point, you guys are making your way back down the hill.
Well, I thought we were going to travel to your capital to see what we can find out.
Oh, well, that is what had been proposed to you and Durand last night as we were speaking, but I was not sure if that you as a group had either discussed it or decided that that is what you will do.
Well, I mean, I do have abilities that would help rebuild this, but I mean, I think my abilities to travel might be a little more useful right now. I'm not sure. I mean, I could see either being good.
Well, I'm not fully aware of what each of you are capable of. I guess that is why I'm asking now. I wasn't sure if further thought, deliberation had been put into it. But I'm sure that I will find out when you have made the choice.
Oh, here. And I'm gonna put up my hand and a little, like, prestidigitation of, like, Ambervale before. And then, like, Ambervale, like, with all of the giant badgers making the
Just like confusing this guy. Alright. Before there was no badgers, now there are badgers. You see?
Well, no, I used them for, like, to make the ground
Mhm.
better, because the ground was bad and you couldn't grow anything there. And now it's like, and then they
Yes.
show him, like, the current, like,
Yep.
farm thing.
Just slideshows, and as you see here.
Yeah, but tiny, because it's only in my hand.
Yeah. As you see here, and that is my PowerPoint presentation on why everything is better with badgers. Thank you. There will be no
It's
questions.
not the badger.
Bad situation plus badgers equals good situation.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. You thought to include the badgers. You weren't like, hey, I can turn this into this. You're like, I can turn this plus badgers into
I
this.
wanted to show him how I did.
I can summon badgers. I'm a badgermancer, you see.
Badgermancer.
Well, not just that, the houses too, because I helped build those with my
You did.
thingy stuff,
Yep.
my stones.
Alright. So, you three make your way back down the hill. Juka begins to head back towards the cave if you guys want to. You can meet back up with Durand and Netadian, who are, I assume, like near the docks somewhere around the ships. Things are moving pretty quickly, not much time for rest as scouting parties from the Empire are heading outside of the city, getting a sort of lay of the land, making sure that, as far as they could tell, there's no other danger. Quick little watch posts are being built and erected. A sentry rotation is being in place, and basically the perimeter of Drillheim is constantly being watched. The entrance to the city itself has been fortified and barricaded, and work is being done to rebuild certain key strategic parts of the city, as well as construct new defenses. Again, turning what was just a port city now into more of a military base, kind of, for the time being. So, have you guys decided what you want to do? Would you like to discuss something to decide what you would like to do? At this point, it's up to you guys, what you want to do, when you want to leave, if you want to leave.
I think they'll be fine here in the meanwhile. They could do their thing. Um, Basically fortifying this place and making it um a place so people can reliably come and freaking land on. Considering it was not before, obviously. Um, and we can probably just head out and be fine.
Nimue said BRP.
Okay.
So as far as I understand, have we only have one destination so far because we haven't really spoken Phoenix Academy. Anyone
What
ships
do you...
yet either? Like in terms of what they're planning to do, are they planning to also assist with like rebuilding the defenses?
Well,
Do they want?
So the entire, like the main point of the Empire sending ships to Draconia, they didn't know what was going on here. They didn't know about all the dragon attacks or anything like that. The point was that Draconia and the Empire had a trade system, right? They would trade with each other, and primarily it was the like metal ores from Draconia that the Empire was interested in, because other than like the metal ore that they had gotten in, most of the like weapons grade ore in the Empire was somewhere like in some way controlled or under like the control of the dwarves, of Bastilligard and the dwarves. Like there were like the mines, like the Copper Hills and everything like that, but the actual like the good stuff, you know, was in the hands of the dwarves. And while that kingdom and the Empire, you know, they're allies, if all of a sudden the trade with Draconia was shut off and the dwarves are like, oh, now we own like all of the weapons grade ore and you have none of it, then that could cause problems. So the Empire was sent over to Draconia to reestablish that trade because it had stopped because, well, they didn't know. You guys now know why. And so that's their primary objective. And part of that is obviously having a working port for the Draconians. And so that is what they're doing right now until they get more word of the situation that's coming from Met Chroma and the Draconians themselves, the leadership themselves, which is what you guys could do, as you have probably the best means of travel out of anybody that's you arrived with. But if you don't want to, then that would mean that somebody else is going to have to make the trip. But until then, yes, they're trying to get Drillheim back to as an operational port. It is one of the primary objectives of the Empire. Then obviously there's a dragon problem, so you're not exactly going to be having a healthy trade with a country that has a dragon problem, so that'll need to be addressed too. But that's also like there's a lot of question marks around that, like why are they? Who are they? You know, all of that good stuff, which is hopefully what somebody in the capital will be able to tell you if you guys decide to make the trip. I don't know if that answered you.
That did. Yeah. But I guess, yeah, for going.
So you're foregoing? Okay.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Weba.
Weba. Whatever that means. Alright, so we all still here? So the four of you meeting up on the docks after Lavorn and Era have basically ensured that you guys have a route back to Drillheim whenever you want, once you can find another tree suitable to making the journey back to Drillheim. You guys have established, a home point. You have one little marker on the map that you can quick travel to.
Is this a new expansion?
It seems like it, doesn't it? Can't go back to the old one.
Yeah.
Starting all. Yep. I understand game design now.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, starting, Drillheim, the busted up, broken, nearly totally destroyed port city. That's what you got so far. That is the closest thing to familiar that you have at this point in this strange new place. The Empire and the Draconians working together to bring it to a semblance of functionality, and it is still pretty far from that, but at the moment the two dragons that had jointly, as far as you know, the only two in this area that had been harassing and accosting and pretty much bringing Drillheim to the brink of destruction have been taken care of. So now it seems like they have at least some time to be able to coordinate and regather themselves and get back on their feet, especially with the assistance of the Empire and the fleet that had shown up here. The four of you. A corner has been turned, so what do you guys want to do?
Well, do we leave immediately, like today, or do we try to help rebuild a little first, or do we think speed is of the essence here?
Do you guys want to have this conversation just you, or is there anyone else that you want to include in it? I don't know if you want to, anyone from the ship? Sven. Vos from Sven?
And, probably Vos, since he'll be coming with us, but, we could just keep it, just us with Sven and, anybody else that we... I don't know if any of the mages would be interested either.
Probably just us and Sven.
And Vos. You guys...
Yeah.
Okay. But, I guess Vos is working with Juka right now, so if you guys just want to have the conversation with just the five of you, the four of you plus Sven.
So my question is still to everybody, are we in a really big hurry, or do we want to? Because, there's little things we could do to try to help, but also I don't know if it'd just be better to start towards our destination.
I think they'll be fine here. They have mages and everything. So if we can get a jump start on reestablishing the connection between the capital and here, I feel that.
That's a good point. As soon as we can establish that, then we could bring even more aid, more resources, more people, if needed. Information, certainly. As well, there had to have been There are dragons long before now. Long before Dragonborn even. Or something had to change with them to make them attack. Certainly before now they had lived separately, or at least harmoniously, if not separately. So what would have changed?
Also, the magic is monkey. Well, I mean, we still can't send messages from here to the Empire, you know. And also, my tree magic stuff didn't work either.
The answer to that might even be somewhere further in. Definitely wouldn't be, or it definitely hasn't been anywhere around here. So if we can find the answer to that problem as well, it would be
Think
huge.
it is correlation or causation? Is this disturbance with our ability to communicate or reach back to the Empire the cause of these dragon attacks, or in some way linked to them? Either way, we don't know what's going on exactly beyond the attacks. If they are random, if there is something that's making them, that's driving them to attack, then that's a different story. Either way, we have to find out. Or they could be being used or directed in some way. And if they are being directed, then how long until the person or thing directing them realizes that two of its pieces have gone missing? And what will it do at that point?
Well, we know from Vasselholm, or the attack on it, that, you know, dragons and the Dragonborn it was a coordinated attack there. And Sidna was in contact with something. I guess its father, her father, which looked like a human to me, which was very confusing. But, you know.
So somebody is controlling, or some group of people are controlling dragons then?
Or dragons can be people? I don't know. Because, I mean, I can be a bear.
And multiple different dragons.
Sorry, you're cutting out a bit?
Oh, to have I believe to have different types of dragons working together, it does feel more controlled in the sense, but the dragons that we encounter themselves seem to be almost not in a frenzy, but the way they talk about us people, how they see us. I don't entirely know. I do have communication with someone else in Draconia, sort of. I mean, I do, but I haven't heard really anything else, and I'm trying to keep them posted once we have, if we can make.
Ooh, do you know where they are?
Thinking about the conversation that I shouldn't fucking mention.
She did kind of mention it, and I showed it to you before.
Oh.
All you know is that she is somewhere on this landmass. Somewhere on this landmass. Somewhere in this area here.
But I wouldn't be able to really point that out or describe it.
I guess not. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Try.
Well,
that particular, yeah.
I mean, somebody has to. I mean, a map would help, right? Somebody has to have one.
Why does somebody have to have one?
I don't know. It just seems like someone would have to have one.
That's true.
Oh,
does
Mary
any-
map salesman.
And like, no, I mean like official maps of like the admiral or somebody has to have a map of Draconia. Maybe we could copy part of it because Neridion can draw really well. Elvorn's nodding her head. Mary.
I mean, I guess I can copy it. It shouldn't be that difficult, even though it's a map and I've never drawn a map, but.
I'm an artiste, not a cartographer. Um,
They are a bit different things.
they are
You
very
silly
different.
voice in the sky.
Mine is inspiration and creativity, not rigid and following of.
So
But
Era
fine.
could copy the map then, according to the voice in the sky.
This
Era
is
would
true.
sit there with like measurements, like okay, quarter of a centimeter this way plus. She'd be there for like 2 days.
Combine their efforts.
Combine their efforts, fusion dance into Era Dion,
Iridion.
Neredier.
Sheesh.
So, you wanna draw a map with me?
2 days?
No, I'm
No,
joking.
we
I
don't.
wasn't
Oh.
saying. I was like, Era by herself would be precise enough to. I don't know. You have a. You got a Xerox machine, like.
Yeah, I do. My
Oh,
brain.
okay. Ah,
The
photographic memory. You don't have
iPhone.
that.
I don't.
That's a feat that you didn't take.
Well, I don't think I could properly. No, it's far from the not necessarily very area.
Alright. So you guys want to try to find a map?
Mm.
There is a map on board one of the ships. You end up speaking with the quartermaster on board the Empire's flagship, the Vasselholm, the one that the Admiral had sailed on. And he brings it out and informs you, what we have here is, I'm not exactly sure. The layout should be the same as what you will see out there. However, cities may be a bit different, as this map is a little old and it is from a time before the joining of the two kingdoms of Draconia. And so I wouldn't take the cities exactly as accurate, but the general, the shape of the country, as well as location of the terrain, major parts of it anyway, should still be accurate.
I have a question.
Yes,
Not to the guy, but to the voice in the sky.
yes.
My memory crystal.
Okay. You want to just remember what the map looks like and put it in crystal?
Yeah, I think that would be a really good use of it
Okie
for right
dokie.
now. I mean, I can't, because it's
Who
the
has
memory.
it? Doesn't Duran have it?
No, I have
No.
it, and it's the memory of Duran's village, which I'm going to keep in my head.
Where it can fade with.
Yeah.
You don't want to give it back to Duran?
Okay, fine. I gave
I'm
it
just
back to
asking-
Duran.
No, you don't have to.
I don't want it.
I will.
I don't want it.
I was just like, I could still scry, you know? We could check
Yeah.
it out.
Sure,
That's why
keep
I was
it.
like, okay. Alright.
So that's what you would do. Just like you just. Okay, so you take the memory back into the crystal of Ulhar Arix, Duran's home, freeing up a space to examine the map of the pre-merged kingdoms Draconia and commit it to memory crystal.
And that way we don't have to draw it right now. We can draw it in our downtime.
There you go. Downtime activities.
And you can also, like, you know, look at it. Anybody can, because,
Mhm.
you know. Although maybe it should be Era who does it. Because she's very
Pardon?
Precise. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to hand her the crystal. And I'm gonna be like, I need you to look at the map and all the details, right? Accurately. Okay.
And then put the memory into the. Got it.
And I mean, then she can have her own memory too, because the map's right here.
Sure.
So, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
once you have that in your mind, you just concentrate on the crystal and it'll put your memory in the crystal.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, this is normal. This is fine. At this point, not the weirdest thing that's even happened today. Sure. So, you focus on the map, Era. Every little detail, every line, every segment, every thing that you could think to focus on, you do. You have the empty crystal in your hand and you focus on it, and you focus on that thought and that memory of the map that you were just looking at half a second ago, and you put the memory of the map into the crystal, and as you do, you totally forget any details of the map whatsoever. Then you look at the map again and you do the same thing again, but for your own personal use, I guess. It was kind of weird. Like you knew you were just focusing on this map, but you remember absolutely nothing about it until you go through it again.
I guess I would be unsure for a moment as I reread the map. But like it worked, right? I don't.
Yeah, the crystal, which had previously been clear, now has just the slightest hint of a pink hue about it.
Durant could test it, or Meridian, to see that we're all good.
Wouldn't using it kind of fog up the memory?
I think it'll be okay. I'd rather not waste it.
Okay.
So, like, you know how the memory crystal thing works. It takes time, and Elevorn, you had specifically dealt with this when you had looked into Zanzibar's memory crystal, and you saw how faded it was. But it does take repeated use for it. But eventually, if you do use the memory crystal to revisit the same memory again and again and again, details will be lost over time with each use.
Okay, well, now we've all seen the map. And,
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted to sketch it a little, you could. Or we could, just use this and, the memory crystal thing when we're ready to.
So, you have your something of a map. You have your memory of the map. You're all relatively familiar with the map. When you're ready to go, then it's all just Vos will leave whenever you guys determine that you're ready. Are you taking Sven as well?
I mean, I'd leave it up to him if he wants to come.
You'd absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, then for sure.
I think that's what he would prefer to do as well. So, you guys heading out now? So it will take about 3 weeks by foot to get there. So let's do some math. I don't know what math I'm doing right.
Well, windwalk is like 300 feet per whatever for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's twice a day. We could do that. Or 3 times a day, I guess, really. But
They're gonna
I
go
don't,
for 24 hours straight. I mean,
I
it's
think
still
that's too much.
probably.
You know,
16 hours might be pushing exhaustion. Normal travel time is 8 hours. Because you're not going to be just walking for 8 hours straight. You're taking breaks. You're eating. You're doing other normal humanoid things.
If we cut those to the bare minimum, then travel time can be 15 hours.
we survive on good berries.
We
Oh
survive
my
on-
goodness. That sounds like a
What?
nightmare. Please.
Please, no, I want food.
Just for a little while. Keeps the stops to a minimum.
We'll survive on good berries.
Okay.
I mean, do we want to get there pretty quick or do we want to get there fast? No. No, I don't think Elgorn would actually like advocate that. That would be like an emergency only we can't find food situation. Or we haven't brought food with us. You know, it might be actually necessary because
I would-
don't know if there's rations
No.
and supplies because the boats from the Empire needed food and everything.
So, it's a 3-week travel by, normal walking. With wind walk, mist form, would be about 3 days. So a
Like
little
3
faster.
days straight traveling or like 3
Ye-
days of
3
Like,
days
is
of
that with
travel.
rest? Or is
Yeah.
that like just wake up, go, sleep? Like,
No, that's 8
Oh.
hours a day traveling.
okay.
So normal travel day, but with wind walking. Assuming that, you guys are taking the best route. Which, ideally, since you're traveling with someone who knows the way, shouldn't be a problem.
Another point is are there towns between here and there? Or
Yeah.
like, because we'd probably, well, Ella would want to stop and look for a tree. Just, in case.
Okay.
Especially if we're traveling like 8 hours a day. So, anywhere near like a village or something. We wouldn't have to go into the village necessarily, but,
Okay.
Could maybe get useful information if we do see anybody along the way. So I'm down to stop if needed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we saw people, we should, especially the refugees from the town, maybe we should, I don't know what we would do then. What would we do then? It would be,
Send them back or for, I don't know. Hang out near this tree for a couple days. I'll find one in the city and come back.
I mean, it would be faster, wouldn't it? Like, just camp here for like a day or two,
But anyways, are you guys ready to go? Stocking up on supplies and good berries. To Era's delight.
Well, I mean, are there supplies like that are available? Like that
I mean, if you guys are like, we just need like 4 or 5 days of food each, like, yeah, like you could, there's food enough for that. Like, if there wasn't food enough for that, then, everybody here in Jurlheim would be in a lot of trouble.
Well, maybe we should leave the food in drill. I don't know.
Maybe we should just starve. It's okay, guys. We're fine.
We have good berries. We won't starve, but
But Princess Era here demands real
Steaks
food.
and whatnot.
Steak and wine.
I don't even think they have steak. But
Mutton and ale.
also, we have ways that we could hunt wild, assuming they didn't burn all the wild already.
Era wants to get her hands dirty.
Well, I didn't say I was gonna.
Durand, fetch
Words
me
in the
some
sky.
food.
but Oliver cooks the food.
Durand, your people are hunter-gatherers, right? Go.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god!
Do your thing.
My goodness. Ay, ay, ay.
I would never expect to see racism from a tiefling.
Ah,
That's
wow.
crazy.
Learn
Was that
behavior. I don't know
racist?
what to
Was
say.
that like, man, that's so
No.
weird that you're so racist considering you're a dirty tiefling.
Wow.
Hey
weird.
now.
Way to stand out. Anyways, let's take a break. See you guys in a bit.
Okay.
So, we're getting back into it. It's coming up on lunchtime, and the 5 of you, well, 6, it's the 4 of you, Svenkrid, and Vos, the brass dragonborn, the right-hand man of Juka, the leader of the dragonborn here in Drillheim. And you are eating some food, sitting around a large crate that currently has a mostly blank a large piece of parchment rolled out over it that Era and or Netadion are currently kind of working on getting just a basic outline of the map that you guys will be using. And as you are beginning to fill in the portions of it, and you get Drillheim marked, and you get the basic outline with a little bit of Vos's, jumping in and giving some guidance here and there. It points down to a location on the map. About this point here would be where Metchroma is. I don't know exactly how it is you plan on getting us there, but know the way from here at least quite well. Between bites of food, Svenkrid asks, and between here and Metchroma, or is there any other cities, towns, any other places where we may find people? Certainly there are some. Nowhere as large as either Drillheim or Metchroma, though mostly towns scattered the sporadic village, perhaps. I don't normally pass by them on a normal travel, but it has been quite some time since I've made the journey myself. That, and I can't imagine what may have come of them if they were able to nearly take out Drillheim. Anything of dangers that we should be ready for? Well, it was one under my assumption that we wouldn't be traveling by normal means. But I suppose even then we would need time to rest. Outside of the dragons, I assume you mean. Certainly some creatures that can be territorial, but if you avoid their territories, it shouldn't be an issue, no. What I'm more concerned of is the disenfranchised and the ones who had lost their homes and livelihoods but maintain their lives. There's been a bit of lawlessness in the aftermath of all of this chaos. So the roads that weren't destroyed are now, from my understanding, patrolled by bandits and the like. So wouldn't be surprised if we were to run into a few of them, at least if we took the normal paths.
Well, we'll probably be overhead if we're going any which one of our ways of traveling, I believe.
Sven nods. And, well, even if we do have to sleep, we do have to rest, but even so, like you said, Deland, if we are traveling as wind or even on the backs of animals, anybody that would try to give us some trouble would have no way of really tracking us, so I don't think that we should, unless we're really unfortunate, have a run-in with any sort of bandits or highwaymen or the otherwise. Yes, I was more concerned on, well, might be a silly question, but these dragons, they had to come from somewhere. Do you know if any make their homes or claim territory in the area between here at Chroma? As far as I'm aware, no. Up until recently, it was rare. If not more so, to see chromatic dragons in this part of Draconia. Historically speaking, this has been the domain of metallic dragons, and even the metallic dragons themselves separate territories based on the specific kinds within. So the fact that there are not only chromatic dragons here, but are allowed to stir up havoc unfettered by the other dragons, there are too many oddities, too many questions. I don't have answers for you in that regard. I can't say for certain whether we will or won't encounter any more of those creatures. Svenka turns to the rest of you. Well, nothing else is coming to mind for me. Shouldn't take us too long to get there. We avoid trouble. I'm hesitant to say that we are capable of doing, as it does seem to find us quite often, but maybe we shouldn't go looking for it if the situation arises. I think we should maybe discuss that before we even head out. Keep our eyes on the big picture, perhaps.
When you were talking, I was just thinking about our trip to Vasselholm the first time. And, that is what we ran into a lot of. I mean, maybe not to this extent, but, bandits and... It does seem like this would be much worse, because things are far more out of order here. Or at least it sounds like it from what you said. You have dragons here. We don't have as many dragons back where we came from, but there's a balance in things, and it seems like the balance here is not what it should be. And while I will want to probably stop and help every person. Maybe, like you said, the best way to help them is to, get things more in balance, or try to. I can't promise I won't.
Well, there's no telling what we will find until we get out there. I think it's pretty unanimous that we will be making this trek, so should be enough time left in the day to get a good start, at least. If we were to leave here relatively shortly. I'm ready to head out when you are. So,
Yeah, me too.
Neri, Era, Ealivorn, anything that you guys want to do here before heading out?
I'm good to go.
Tressum, Valfir, they coming with you? They staying in Drillheim?
Well, I don't think we can windwalk with them.
You've done it before, haven't you?
Have we?
I don't think we have specified that really ever.
Keep them out of danger till we can tree them over to Macroma or whatever. Establish the safe points and then keep them in the safe. Or if you want to.
Was thinking that maybe, we were chasing those teenagers or kids through
You
the
want
house.
to give them to...
No, I don't want to give them to them. It's just
keep them in the care.
favor, to watch them, play with them. They like fish.
They like fish. Watch them play with them. They like fish. I will say that you guys have put in work over the 3-month voyage into training your respective aminals, monstrosities, whatever you want to call them.
How dare you?
How dare you? That
Beasts.
Beasties, little beasties that you could windwalk without fear of them, I guess, zipping off in a random direction.
Okay, because before you mentioned it, that's what I was going to go to.
Yeah.
Check on. Because, also the boat.
Also
Nimue.
Also boat. You guys have the foldable boat if you want to take that instead.
Well, we'll bring it with us, yes. In case we need a boat.
I'm not going to take it, across the road. Row your boat.
Oh yeah, you could just hitch Ealivorn up to it and she'll just pull you
She'll
there.
just drag it. Yeah, there you go. Put some wagon wheels on it.
A foldable wagon. Oh, that would be good. I wonder if... Oh, that would be really cool. We could pop out the foldable boat and sleep in it.
Turn it upside down.
No, like the bigger one.
The bigger one?
We just find a clearing and pop out the boat and then we sleep inside of it.
Or maybe Era could conjure a mansion or something.
Can Era do that?
I don't think she chose that one.
I didn't.
Like,
Thanks for the
why
reminder.
Why would I choose that? I'm gonna take Fireball 3 more times.
Okay,
Exactly.
so we have a
Just
boat to sleep
Fireball.
in instead.
Just
Oh my god.
What's your point, person within fireball distance?
I almost forgot I had those. Thank you for reminding me.
You know, the Just Fireball one oddly sounds like you a bit.
Just
It
fireball.
does.
It does sound like you.
Like, what?
Like, I swear, if you tried to say that like that, you could pretty much mimic it spot on. It sounds like you a lot.
I'll record a couple of mine and just put mine instead.
And I won't tell the
Dude.
difference. I won't be able to tell.
Dune is joke at.
Yeah.
No, the longer sentence one, it's more obvious that it's not you, but the Just Fireball, that could easily be you.
But yeah, we could totally have a boat home.
Boat home.
But home is fine.
Alright, you guys ready to head out?
Maybe it could be a flying boat home.
Ooh. Like, how?
I don't know. I haven't figured
Hitch
it out
up,
yet.
hitch up some owls to it?
Alright,
Like,
keep
just
casting fly on the boat now. It's fine.
fly on the
It's
boat.
already magical.
It's not a creature. It's not like
I
the
know.
Nimue. It doesn't work like that.
We'll
Ella
invent
doesn't know
hot
that.
air
doesn't
balloons.
Ah, air balloons, you say.
Hot
Oh,
air
Helium.
balloons, yeah.
We just have to invent
Wait,
rubber,
what's that?
and then
No, we don't have to invent
oh,
rubber.
cloth, I guess. Cloth and fire.
I got the fire
Engineering.
part.
I got the fire.
Cloth and fire that somehow doesn't result in just destruction,
Yeah.
just ashes.
Hot air balloons. Who knows? Like, that's what they are, right? Just cloth and fire.
Yeah, I know, but like not ashes. That's the hard part. We could make lots of ashes. No problem.
All you need is a bunch of rope and a high-level conjure animals. Just have like owls live. It's a bunch of owls on strings.
Man, but how cool would that be? Like just a flying, like a small one, not like as big as the Nimue, because that's like, you'd see that from. I don't know. Actually, flying would probably be really bad here, because dragons. What am I thinking? Let's not do that.
All right. What about where's our subterranean boat, underground boat? Go, digging claws.
Oh lord, no.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you guys leaving now? You running away? Collecting your aminals?
Yeah, we're sprinting.
Sprinting, running. Why are we running? I don't.
Because we're in a hurry.
Oh.
Well, if we have everything, I could windwalk us.
And then we sprint.
And then we sprint. Sprint as mist sprinting. Alright, so you guys can collect all the things that you need, and if there anything else, it's gonna be the four of you, Vos, and Svenkrid. Is everybody ready to go?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I'm almost good. I have to give Nimue a hug.
Okay. You give Nimue a hug.
And like I'll be back. Kind of. Not like Terminator.
I'll
I'll be back. Terminator.
I'll be back.
But not like I said, not like that.
Too late.
Somehow
Too
it now
late.
invokes it. Just
Yeah,
because it said not like that.
Yeah. It's like, I give Nimue a hug, but not in a weird way. It's like, oh, so that's definitely a weird hug that you just did. Like,
Oh,
why'd you
no,
have to
I said
specify it?
No, I said it, and then I was like, wait, that sounds like the Terminator. And I was like, no, not like that.
And Nimue responds, and I will be here when you do.
Okay, take care. And thank you for taking care of everybody.
And smiles, and the roots and vines unfurl back into the ship itself. So, you all gather around. Elevorn casts the Windwalk spell. You all turn into mist and follow the mist that is Vos out over the walls of Drillheim, over a vast expanse of trees and forest outside of Drillheim. Maybe only, even just as you get past the walls, past the little bit of farmland that is on the outside of the city itself. It's nothing but trees and wilderness, as far as you can see. It's almost as if you were back on the Falfnumloth and just looking out over open ocean, except it's just land that hasn't been touched by civilization, it seems. Occasionally through the canopies of the trees, you can see some semblance of a road that had been paved and created to connect Drillheim to other Draconian cities, but it's evident that Draconia here is nothing like the Empire. You get the feeling that Drillheim is separated from the other towns, cities, villages of Draconia by more than just a road and distance. It's not as interconnected a civilization as the Empire is. There's a lot more wilderness in between. And so you guys are above the trees, but not too far above that Vos couldn't keep an eye on the road, and that's kind of your guideline for this first stretch of the journey, as you can still see the road out ahead. In the distance, you see large hills similar to the ones that your tree is on top of, Elevorn. Even the formation of a few jagged mountains. But for the most part, in this area, it is forest separated by a few sparse splotches of what looks like grassland and plains. You all continue to travel. Every few hours, occasionally someone will need to stop for a rest, take a break, get some food, water, relieve themselves, and you're back to it. All in all, that first day goes by mostly uneventful. By the time that you finish and the sun is beginning to set and you get to the end of the 8-hour stretch, it's coming to around 7, 8 p.m., so it's an hour or two after sunset at this point. It's a little colder here in Draconia than you would previously expect it to be this time of year in the Empire. But sit down, you guys land as the spell has maybe 10-15 minutes on it, reverting back to your physical forms and begin to set up camp. Over the past maybe hour or two, the last hour or two of your journey, the dense forest had begun to lighten up, and before landing, scouting a bit higher and looking out into the distance, you could see what looks like the beginning of a stretch of looks like plains, and then maybe even some badlands beyond. As you are setting up camp, Vos, who's still looks like he's a little off balance from the trip, not used to being, fucking missed. So, the road does not go for much longer. Beyond is a sort of wasteland, but if you know the landmarks to look for, it is not so difficult to navigate. Normally, that stretch lasts for but a few days. This whole first part would have taken us a week, so we should be beyond that by the first half of tomorrow, I'd imagine, if we make the same pace. So it should not be an issue. On the other hand, on the other side, it gets greener, and that marks about the halfway point. The terrain gets a little rockier as we approach Metchroma. And, well, you'll know we're about to get to the capital city when we're about to get there. It is very difficult to miss. So, tents if you want it. Foldable boat homes, should you desire.
Foldable boat homes.
Yeah, did you miss that whole rant that
Oh
went
yeah.
on? Could use the foldable boat as a place to sleep, technically, at night.
Nothing weird at all. That there's just a
Just a
random
boat.
boat. There's
This is fine. It's fine.
shipwrecked on land.
It's shipwrecked in the middle of the...
Next day, somebody comes to check it. It's not there.
Yeah, right? Like, guys, I swear there was a boat in the middle of this place.
could
I
also
told you
disguise-
not to eat the wild mushrooms.
I could disguise it with like vines and stuff with plant growth.
Just make it look even more like, whoa, this thing has been here for a while. No, I'm hiding it. Stop. It's supposed to make it less interesting. Get away. Alright, so. You guys good with just resting? Anything? Watch order? Anything you guys want to do? Campfire set up. Tents, sleeping bags, boats, whatever you wish.
I was just like, I could make beds out of vines, you know, like they cover you up with like a little canopy and stuff. And then I was like, no, that'd just look like graves. It's all sleeping.
I want one of those.
It's like, you know, I'll dig us all little bed-sized holes in the ground.
Yes, please.
I was doing that in my head. I was like, that would work with moss, you know, that'd be great. And then I was like, these are just graves.
and then so we don't get confused, I'll put our names on rocks above each one so we know whose bed is whose.
Oh my god.
Oh dear. You
I was
guys walk.
thinking the backpacks like in front of them, like at the heads, not rocks. You know, even that would be terrible.
You guys are like in a strange place. Era, Durand, and Neredion are walking through a previously unexplored part of like this country, and you come across 3 graves with your names in front of them. You're
Oh
like,
my
whoa,
God.
nope, fuck this, get out of here. And then as you guys run off, Elevorn comes in with some pillows and blankets, like, yeah, they're gonna love this.
I mean, Neredion has already died once.
That's
and
true.
It's just basically a living dead go already.
I don't
so
wanna go back.
no, I miss it. The sweet grave.
Okay.
But yeah, that is the scene I was imagining.
Everyone digging graves for her friends. This is fine. So, anything you guys want to do or discuss before getting a night's rest?
I'm gonna go back around.
All right. And Duran at this point is probably sitting near the fire, debating whether or not he wants to sleep in his armor tonight or not.
Right. Spot on.
Hey, Durand, you got a moment?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't know how long we are going to be here or if we're ever gonna come back here after we go back to home or anything, but I mean, it's just something I've been thinking about pretty much the whole trip almost. But I mean, you don't have to do it now. We could just do it once we're back home. But I mean, maybe you could teach me some Draconian, like maybe just like few words, like how to say hello and have a nice day or something. You know, kind of basic things.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to just know some basic things, I could show you right now.
I mean, yeah, if you feel like it, but I just don't want to rush you and think it's just basic things, yeah. But still.
The more complicated things will definitely take a lot more time, but for simple phrases, I'm sure I can. A couple of
Okay.
a little bit of time right now.
Sure.
I could show you.
I mean, yeah, that's not a problem. Basic things you could pick up in the evening there, like a few phrases,
Yeah.
Hello, goodbye, please, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's the train station?
Where's
Je
the
m'appelle.
library?
Donde está la biblioteca?
Yeah, where's the library? So, hello, goodbye, please, thank you, and I don't speak Draconian are the three that you...
Yeah.
The basics.
The basics, yeah. I mean, it's...
Or, you could be like that Mexican guy from Family Guy, and I don't know if you've seen that clip.
I mean, I've watched Family Guy, yeah, but at the moment, for some reason, I just don't remember that guy.
So it's like, okay, so Peter's in like the back of a truck with a bunch of Spanish-speaking people, and the Spanish-speaking person basically goes through this whole long, intricate English sentence, and then Peter's like, "Oh wow, you speak English? Didn't expect that." And the guy's like, "No, I just learned that one phrase, and then this phrase that explains that one."
Oh, I remember. And then he says something else. He says, "Gay."
He's like, "Gay?" Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, that. Alright, so sure. If you want to get more into learning a new language, then we'll start incorporating like roles to see how well you start to pick it up and how long it's going to take. But for the very basics, you'll be fine. So, choose 3 basic phrases that you want Duran to teach you, and you'll know those in Draconian. So what are the 3 basic phrases?
Well, first, of course, something like hello or... Yes.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
One also could be goodbye. Like,
Yeah,
just,
hello, goodbye is fine. Yep.
I mean, as much as it kind of would be nice, but at the same time, if they would answer in Draconian, I wouldn't answer no. If I would, ask them how are you? It's like,
they just judge the body language after that and the inflection, I guess. Just nod and smile regardless of what they say.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I guess whatever the third one The third one can be whatever Duran wants to teach.
All right. So we have hello, goodbye, how are you, and one of Duran's choice. What do you want, Duran? Run, there's a dragon.
Yeah, run, there's a dragon.
That's not bad.
He doesn't
That's not
even
bad.
explain what it means. And I'm like, we go back to Vasselholm. And I'm like, run, there's a dragon.
Run, there's a dragon. One of the 3 phrases that she learned.
Yeah.
Run, there's a dragon. What's going on? And you don't say, how are you?
Hello with a question mark and then goodbye.
Hello?
That all works. Everything, yeah. That you can say all of those in a combination.
Oh, no.
Okay. So what's the third phrase that you want to teach her, Duran?
Mine? I like the run it's a dragon, man.
Run, there's a
Run,
run,
there's a dragon.
Okay. Sure. Topical, relevant. So you know the basic tenets of conversation. You have learned.
It's like showing your friend. This is like the PC version of showing your friend like a curse word on top of everything, right?
There you go.
There's one there for comics.
I literally cannot wait for it to actually come in useful.
And in return, if Duran wants, I can teach like a few words in a few sentences in, Elvish or something. Or Dwarven.
Dwarvish.
Dwarvish.
That's the unique one that you got.
Yeah.
Elvish would be interesting, but probably not right now.
Both. I mean, I could teach both a little bit. Whenever he wants to, if he wants to.
Yeah. Teach him how to flirt with all of one in Elvish. So, Duran and Netadion, you guys take some time around the campfire to go over these common draconian phrases, helping her with the enunciation and pronunciation. By the time it's time for you guys to get to bed and somebody to take watch, you've got those pretty much down for the time being. Nerdy. Era, Elevon? Anything?
I'd probably maybe not go off too far, but kind of like or the area zone-ish. Just like go on like a walk. Like
Okay.
Elvarn is totally playing with the Valkyr.
Okay.
I mean, like training, but
Training. Yeah. Sure you are. Alright. Okay. So, on your walk around, Era, you have to get the feeling that you're in a totally different place in the world. The trees are of differing types and breeds than you are familiar with, although, still obviously trees. The feel of the air is different. The smell of the air is different. The occasional nocturnal bird that you hear crying in the distance, calling in the distance, is something that you are completely unfamiliar with. The occasional small animal that you catch like a little glimpse of as you may have accidentally walked too close to when it scurries off. You see what looks kind of like a rabbit, but in different. It's like a different color to its fur and different lengths of the ears and fur than you're used to, but still distinguishable as a rabbit. In your short walk, there's no signs of any other people or intelligent life around.
I guess I'll kind of sit on the ground for a moment and take out my book and just kind of, I don't know, what I see. So very, I don't know, just detailed like, oh,
Okay.
rabbit. And I guess,
Try to draw the rabbit.
you know what?
Little
Yeah,
sketch-
let's do it.
little sketch
Try.
there.
I'm not
Okay.
an artist.
No, you're not. Roll a d20. So think about what. Just roll a d20. See how.
18.
18?
Mm-hmm.
Take the time, and you don't try to overdo it. You're not trying to get everything perfectly, but between the relatively simple sketch that you make and the overly detailed descriptors that you add to the drawing, you have a pretty, at least in your mind, vivid depiction of what you would see. Something that you can look back to, and when you see it, you'll be reminded of the creature that you had seen here tonight. And you can do that with, the other things, the birds you see, the trees that are around, the feeling of the atmosphere, the smell in the air, all of that. Your first little report, as it were, in Draconia.
I guess I'll put a little heart next to it. And then a question mark next. Thank you.
There you go. Perfect. Perfectly describes feelings. Alright. Is there anything else anyone wants to do before this first day of travel comes to an end?
I want to make some good berries, or I don't know. Did we get food? Did we not get food? I don't know.
Did you get food? I said that you could, but then you're like, nope, good berries, so that's up to you.
Yeah, I guess we probably got food, so I would probably try to cook something with whatever we got. Whatever random,
Yeah. Alright.
Some magic mushrooms.
Some magic. Is Duran gonna go hunter-gather things, or?
Well, is there like a body of water nearby? Or are we not near water?
It would be like a 20-minute walk away to like a very small stream. Nothing significant, but enough to collect water from, yeah.
I can go hunt for stuff. I have time. Why are you giggling?
Just, nothing.
Nothing. Just no.
It's interesting that you are the ignore me.
Why?
Because I'm superior,
Duh.
huh?
Ooh.
Why are you giggling?
Stop laughing at me. Once I figure out how to use this bow,
Does Durand want some company for the hunt?
someone who can actually use a ranged weapon. maybe?
Wow.
Someone with a little bit of dexterity, perhaps.
Wow, I don't have.
Not
I don't
because-
not have dexterity.
I don't have negative dexterity anymore.
Not because, just, does he just want company?
Yeah, the help is appreciated. I will take that.
Okay, yeah, I'll join Durand.
All right.
And thankfully, Elvorn has gone off to collect water, so she has no idea this is going on.
Nobody's allowed to eat meat.
I didn't say that, okay? That's not how Elvorn works, okay? But it's
That
different if you're going off killing things. Like,
How does
like,
she think? Where does she think meat comes from?
it's already dead. At that point, there's
Scavengers.
nothing to be done.
Yeah, I
Scavengers
just
only.
found this.
I
I
found
didn't
it.
actively kill it. It was just there.
I saw Deridion walking out of the forest. I went to where she was. I just found this here.
It happens, It's like, yeah. I mean, like there is. It happens in nature, right? It's not weird, but she's not gonna just watch you do it.
I can circumvent all of this by just making food and water.
That is true. You could do that. And she has, paid a good amount, I believe, for some quite expensive spices and seasonings that could make your bland create food and water taste good. I don't know how much more of that you have, Elevorn.
I have barely used any of it.
Okay.
Ever.
Barely used, but she still needs more.
So, I mean, you don't need to go.
I'll make food.
You can.
I'll make food. I'll Uber Eats it.
Are you still going hunting, Neridion, or no?
I guess not. If Durand isn't going, then no.
Okay. Alright. So, by the time you get back with the water, Elevorn, Durand has this nice conglomeration of barely discernible, probably food things with his create food, his bland create food spell that you're used to working with. You can use it. You can spruce it up and make something out of it. Maybe. Let's see. Make a culinary tools check. What you making? What?
I wasn't saying like don't go hunting. I was just saying like as long as just because it's weird because like how can I just not do something? It's it's like the deer and the lizard folk again. It got us into so much trouble saving a deer.
It's Nemo's not saying don't go hunting. Elevorn, on the other hand.
No, I mean like it's not that complicated.
It's
like,
complicated.
If I'm standing right there and I can do something, I have to do something. But if I'm not standing right there and it's already happened, it would be very wasteful not to, honor and.
Okay, so just like la 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 la. Go ahead, guys.
No, she can't do that either. That's why it's like she has to totally not know that you're like sure you show up and you're like whatever. She's like, okay.
This is what we're doing today. Alright.
Yeah,
you can
no,
do it,
that's
but
a natural
just feel
one.
guilty about it. Just. Oh no.
Then again, the vegetable things that Elvorn makes is good.
Yeah. Normally. This time, however, she actually probably overdid the spices and the seasoning to the point that it's a bit overwhelming.
Okay, so I was a
you
little distracted, and Valfir was jumping around, and it flipped,
He
and the
knocked
kind of dumped just a little.
Waltner seasoned the whole thing.
Yeah.
I tried to cook it off a little, but I think I might.
Did I tell
burn
you
it.
how many? Did I tell you how many doses or how many uses you had of those spices, Elevon?
I don't think so. Because it was the pouch that Meridian bought at the
Oh.
thingy.
Okay.
I think it was just infinite. wasn't it?
Infinite? Is it infinite?
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I
that might
don't
be worse.
remember.
Then there's so much in there. I don't.
You might
It's
have to
kind
go
of the
hunting
whole
now.
bag, but at the same
I
time.
think it might have. It might have. I think I actually got it from something. Let's see. Heward's handy spice pouch. This belt pouch appears empty and has 10 charges. While holding the pouch, you can use an action to expend one of its charges, speak the name of any non-magical food seasoning, and remove a pinch of the desired seasoning from the pouch. The pouch regains 1d6 plus 4 expended charges daily at dawn. Okay, so it's not infinite, but it is refilling.
So kinda infinite.
Kind of
but
infinite.
no.
But, you know, you don't have any more today because Valfir knocked it and dumped the whole thing into the...
And it was just supposed to be a little bit of cinnamon.
Yeah, just
now
a
it's all
little-
cinnamon.
It's like cinnamon meat. It's weird. It's...
We're doing the cinnamon challenge, I see.
Oh, yeah, basically. It's good. Alright, so
Delicious.
enjoyable it may not be, but filling still technically, I guess. So
If you could even eat it.
if you could even eat it.
This is so bad.
Is Elevon eating it? Does she know how bad it is? Or she's like wide-eyed looking at like, how do you like it?
Everybody
Aware of
else.
what happened. She's like, I tried to. That's what I said. Is she's explaining what happened. She's just like almost in tears, and she's like, I tried to cook it off, but it doesn't cook off. I don't think.
And I don't even know why I gave it to you guys anyway, but here we are. And Duran's like, I could just cast the spell again, but
True.
it's too late. You guys are eating it.
Yeah.
Hindsight.
Guess somebody needs to distract Val next
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, she's taking care of a hyperactive dog, making sure it doesn't run off or get into any trouble while still trying to cook food. It's anyway. After you guys eat, rinse out your mouths, you get to bed. Who's on watch? What's the watch rotation looking like? I mean, 2 people.
2 people?
Well, yeah, 1 person for each little shift.
Oh,
I can.
Meridian is gonna take the first.
Okay.
Alright, I'll take the second then.
Okay. Meridian, you know what to do.
Do I?
You absolutely do. Give
I
us
know.
the best roll of your life.
Nope.
I rolled a 6.
I know I put myself into this. It's 1.
Oh no!
Oh, yes.
Another 1! Somehow they have to be linked.
Ah,
Elevon's cooking and your poor perception roll are somehow linked. I don't know how.
the stomach is being like, mm.
It's
Their
just,
eyes
oh,
haven't
my
stopped
tummy.
watering.
Yeah. The eyes haven't stopped watering.
Just from the smell of it alone.
Yeah,
it's
the lingering smell that's still like occasionally a breeze flows in and pushes like the
I burp a little and I
Ugh.
taste it.
Oh no.
Oh,
And you are
I'm
barely aware of anything
Yep.
around you at all. You could vaguely hear the sounds of
Duran snoring.
Duran's light snoring, of the birds and the wildlife beyond, but it's like your head is so fuzzy and clouded, it's almost like a muffled, muted version of those things, and you can't really tell from what direction they're going. Occasionally you think you hear maybe something a little bit louder, heavier footfall. Closer, maybe, but trying to focus, trying to concentrate, you don't really get it, and maybe it's just your head or the food poisoning getting to you, who knows. Regardless, as you're beginning to just feel the sleepiness start to take over, didn't notice anything, you go and rouse Durand from his slumber and trade off the watch. So Durand, you are up. Please make a perception.
Perceive.
Perceive it.
Perception. $16.
So, the first hour of your watch goes by pretty uneventfully, as does the second. As you come to the third and the penultimate hour of your watch, it's getting to like the early morning hours, probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. The sound of the nocturnal animals has begun to quiet off a bit, and some of the really early morning risers, you begin to hear their calls. You see, maybe at this point the fire of your campfire has gone out a while ago. Nothing but a few embers and slight trails of smoke remain. About 25 feet away, you see a small bird come land, pick up a twig, and fly off towards wherever it's flying off. It has pretty unique markings on it. It's like a dark blue, almost black feathered bird with this reddish pink belly to it. And you actually see that bird a couple more times, comes back, picks up a twig, flies off. A little after 5 or so in the morning, a little less than an hour before it's time to get everybody up and back to it. You haven't seen the bird in a while. And you see it fly by. It sits on a low trench not too far away. And it's further, not deeper into the forest, but closer to the tree line, which lies ahead of you and leading more towards that badlands or wasteland type area beyond this forest, the next leg of your journey. And you see something in one of its talons. You're not exactly sure what, but it doesn't look like a twig. It's a lot lighter than that. It's not brown, it's more of like a pale or eggshell type color. But it rests on the branch for a little bit and then takes off in the same direction you'd seen it go every other time, presumably to add this to its nest that it seems to be building as well. You only see it once more, coming back, picking up a twig, going back, before the light of the sun begins to raise over the horizon, and it's about time that everyone starts to wake up. About time, not quite. So, what are you doing?
I suppose I should wake everyone, yeah.
Okay. Everybody up. The campsite begins to be broken down. Breakfast. Are you looking for redemption, Elevorn?
Well, yeah, that was terrible.
Alright, culinary tools check. Redeem yourself with breakfast, the most important meal of the day. So they say.
Wait, am I proficient? Or what do I add to it?
You are
I forgot.
proficient. Let's go. Normally we go with wisdom. It's like, you cook by feelings.
Well, then it's a 21 total.
21. Elevorn has sufficiently redeemed herself. You all are perhaps a little bit nervous as she begins, but soon after she does, and the aromas and smells of the cooking breakfast begins to waft in and greet your senses, you are instantly cured of any such nerves and are eagerly awaiting breakfast as it is served, and it is wonderful. Last night apparently was simply a hiccup, an anomaly in Elevorn's otherwise pretty good cooking track record. Unfortunately, it's not pastry. She doesn't have a pastry up in here, but it's a good, hearty, filling, delicious breakfast. Devour.
Inhale it.
What's the weather looking like this morning?
What's up?
Well, I could use Druidcraft, and so I do. To check the weather, because she asked about the weather.
To check the weather?
Well, yeah, because that's what.
So,
What's the general rate? It's for this point that you're on right now. You guys are about to be zipping off into, right? So whatever you get might not be accurate for where you're going. But if you want to. For this area here, Druidcraft, and it should be partly cloudy, slight chance of precipitation, and wind gusts up to about 22 miles per hour. Does that answer your question?
But what does it look like with Druidcraft?
What does it look like? It's a little phase spirit in front of a weather board that says those exact things. No, I don't know.
I'm just being silly, don't worry.
You get like a little topographical, like top down, like not like a map, but a little representation of it. So kind of like you're precipitationing things, but it's like very translucent, barely visible at all. It's near transparent, and you can kind of see the slight clouds. You can see like a few little drizzlings of rain, and the movement of the clouds indicates some kind of wind. And although it's not exactly apparent to anyone else who sees it, as it's kind of vague in that way, you understand, the caster of the spell understand the meaning behind it. Anyways, now that you had your breakfast and you've watched your weather era, anything else? Weather update. It's raining. Are you guys ready to just move on? Nothing else?
I mean, I'm paranoid about that bird you were describing, but I didn't see it, so I'm like, what does it mean?
Is it one of those things that he just describes in over detail for no reason again?
I mean, is that what you did?
Mags is over there closing her ears about rocks in a pile. I don't know. Durand obviously didn't seem like it was worth investigating, so there's nothing to worry about.
Everything is fine.
I don't know. I'm not overthinking it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't. Is this just another fucking torn off limb thing where I've got to tell everybody every little thing I see during the night?
If we're sleeping, yeah.
No.
All right. I'll write a
You don't
report.
have to if you
I
I saw a cool bug, and it was very colorful.
That's what
and
it
made a
feels
noise-
like. That's what
It made a
like
noise
I
like
gotta
this.
do.
Oh my god.
This is your
First the
fault.
arm, now the birds. I can't.
It's crazy. A bird building a fucking house needs to be reported.
It's insane.
I'm not saying that it does. I'm saying that I'm concerned because,
Oh no, I know.
you know,
There's a chance that Zen's just gonna throw this in my fucking face later, just like the arm.
No, it's gonna be like a year and a half down the line. It's like, you remember that bird?
Oh my god!
The bird is the big bad guy. The bird is the big evil guy. Big bad.
It was the baddie all along.
It seemed like it was simply building a nest. However, it was being used by the archdruid to transport the crystals to his lair. And if you would have followed it, you probably could have found out about it a lot sooner. But
Dun, dun, dun.
Jeez.
anyways, are you guys ready to move on?
Meridian is?
Yep.
Durand, Era, good to go?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Alright. So, Yellowvorn, casting mist form as the campsite is sufficiently broken down. Everyone gets back into their mist forms. And following Vos, take off over the wasteland. early on, like, as you are transforming, Vos goes into just kind of talking about the journey and the area that you are traveling across right now. The conversation starts as Elevorn is casting the spell and continues as you are in your mist forms. And as he's describing it, there's a very specific route and path that we take through this area as we are traveling between Metchroma and this, and the part of Draconia that we had just traveled from. While in our history, we have either been on good terms with the metallic dragons, or at the very least, stayed out of each other's way. As a majority of us feel like it is best to give birth to the dragon, give a proper birth to the dragons, instead of, and not encroach upon their territory. And it is known that these wastelands are somewhere within the vastness of them houses a great brass dragon. We don't know exactly where. As I say, we stick to a pretty strict path through this area. Though I don't pretend to understand the thoughts or the means of thinking behind such ancient and different beings such as the dragons, even ones that we consider to be good or allies to us. Certainly they must see us as very different than, just as we see them as very different. Probably even more different than a human were to view an elf, or a dragonborn a tiefling. Even so, it always struck me as weird that, well, that chromatic dragons were able to roam so freely this deep into metallic dragons' territory. As this side of Draconia, historically speaking, as far as back as even pre-Dragonborn times, has been dominated and controlled by metallic dragons. You guys are zipping over the cracked and arid land below. The dry, dusty land is being kicked up by a pretty strong wind, kind of obfuscating a lot of your vision of the area in the far distances. You stay relatively close behind Vos, and kind of low to the ground as well. I would like somebody to roll a percentile dice for me, please. Who will it be?
I'll do it.
Okay.
45.
45 or 35?
45.
Okay. I'll say about an hour and a half into your flight over these wastelands, it gets to the point where you feel the wind picking up to a speed that it is dangerous to maintain your mist form. As in, you might be blown so far off course, or the little ones such as Valfir and Tressum might be scattered and separated. You feel it's getting very difficult to maintain the closeness, and behind Vos, and Vos is even displaying like it's difficult for him to stay on track with the wind picking up as it is.
If it's that apparently bad, we should probably make a stop and continue on foot for a while.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Before I lose track of the path forward, it's not uncommon for this place to experience such winds, but normally it is not as disruptive as this. I mean, normally we do not travel as wind itself, so I have no hesitations about being able to continue to lead us, at least until the wind dies down a bit. I have not yet lost sight of the path. So, you guys are turning back into your physical forms? Roses, at least. It's either that or we're going to have to make some rules for continuing on, whether or not you're able to stay on course, or Valfir and Tressum especially. If you guys decide to continue as Mist.
Yeah, I would just drop the mist form.
Okay.
Same.
You still have it for the next 5-6 hours. It just takes a minute to turn back, right? The spell is still active.
Yeah, I wasn't dropping the spell,
Yeah.
just, dropping out of mist form.
Sure.
The form itself.
Yeah. All right. So, Netadion, Elevorn, Valfir, and the Tressum under the instruction of you two also drop their mist form, and it's not like a harsh wind. It's kicking up like a solid stream of dust and loose dirt around your boots and ankles, but it's not like stinging at your eyes or anything like that. It just makes seeing out beyond maybe 100, 200 feet difficult. You can feel it is blowing at, your hair and at your clothing, but it's not like gale force winds by any means. So you continue walking over the hard, compact ground, following Vos as you do. It says, not too long ago, we'd passed by a relatively large split in the ground. That is a marker that we use for traveling. That means that forward quite a ways, maybe within the next half hour or so, we should be coming across a large boulder that will tell us that we are on the right path, is continuing on the right path. and we'll go from there.
All right.
He takes a canteen off his belt and takes a swig of fresh water and places it back as he continues. You guys just following on foot?
It's the safest means of traveling. I think it's better to stay on foot.
Okay. So you guys are continuing 10, 15 minutes. Occasionally you can see overhead what sunlight does manage to make it through the light cloud cover is occasionally blocked by a passing bird. They look relatively large, maybe small to medium in size. They look similar to other scavenger type birds that you might be familiar with from the Empire, from your time in the Viridi Desert. Though their plumage looks a little more sparse than the typical like buzzards or vultures that you're familiar with. The necks may be a little bit longer, as the beaks also a little bit longer and thinner than that of the vultures that you're familiar with. But you see the occasional one flying overhead. They all seem to be flying in a similar direction. Ahead of you, forward. And it gets to the point where above the area of where the wind is kicking up dust and making it hard to see, you can see that there are these scavenging birds that are flying in a circle, maybe about 300 to 500, hard to tell, feet ahead of you. Vos is carrying on.
Ahead of us. So, I mean, it could be assumed that they're trying to run away from something behind us. Maybe?
I didn't see anything behind us as we were flying. Whatever it was would have had to come behind us relatively quickly. Did we double back?
Are there any big herds or, like a lot of animals big animals that travel together here?
Not typically around this time of year. They normally come out more around in a few months from now, when this place actually sees some rain. There are many different types of beasts and animals that call this area their home, yes? What is the problem?
Well, they're scavengers, aren't they? I mean, we have birds that circle like that. And kind of point at them.
Well, yes, it's just that it seems like they found something to eat.
Yeah, but there's too many. Don't you think?
I mean, if the scavengers from your homeland or anything like these here, you'll have multiple fighting over a morsel that's barely enough for one.
Yeah, but that's like 5, maybe. Maybe 5. Not like... And there are more joining them. It's not
Yeah. As you guys get closer, you can see it. There's more. There are like a couple dozen, maybe.
Is there anything up ahead that you remember?
That would attract them? No, as I said, the scavengers, whatever attracted them. The only thing that attracts them is the next meal.
Right. Well, I mean, like, is there um that you know of, or maybe even asking you directly, Zen, if there's anything that we remember from the map that there might be like a village or something up ahead, a population of some sort.
No.
It's all clear.
Yeah, it's all clear. And from what Vos had told you, like this area was basically like metallic dragon territory, so they didn't have any sort of dragonborn villages set up here.
I see. I see.
And the path that they took through here was specifically one chosen and taken to not come in contact or disturb or offend any potential like dragons through this area. They took this path specifically to be the least intrusive.
Dang, I see.
So, like, there shouldn't be any other than I can just.
So then,
At
whatever
least
is
like-
ahead is probably something that we can't help, anyways. Or rather, the reason of whatever these things are gathered around for. We'll have to just keep our eyes open and be prepared for anything.
Alright. I wouldn't be too concerned. They wouldn't congregate as such if there was any imminent danger. These things only show up when whatever has happened has already happened. You want to stop? We can stop. Just don't see a reason to.
No, it's alright.
As you continue, could somebody perception check? Somebody make a perception. Someone with advantage or two people. Normal. Who wants to do it?
I can.
Okay.
Unless she has.
What'd you say, Max?
Do you have perception? What the fuck? Do you have I forgot my words.
Do you have proficiency? Perception?
No, yeah.
Proficiency?
Yeah.
Proficiency?
Oh, there we go, that word. Yeah.
Persephone?
Persephone. Okay, perfect.
So is Elevon rolling with advantage, or are you both rolling separate?
I'll help her.
Alright. Go ahead and make a perception roll with advantage, Elevon.
Well, thankfully, it was with advantage because one's a 20, not 20, and one's a 2.
Alright.
So it's like 27.
Nice. So, as the six of you begin to get closer and get to the point where you're coming up on where these scavenging birds would be overhead, through the light obfuscation of the dust and wind, you see the large boulder that Vos had alluded to earlier begin to come into view. Though it has a bit of an odd shape about it. One that, as you get a little bit closer, it seems like he doesn't realize it as fast as you, Elevon, but even gives Vos pause. And he kind of squints and looks at it like that's odd. But it doesn't look just like a boulder. It looks like a something resting top of a large boulder. And Elevon, with your perception, you're able to pick out a pretty distinct looking silhouette of what you can see as a dragon resting atop this rock. At this point, it's mostly just silhouette. You can't really tell of what kind it is.
So I am finding Duran and patting his arm and not like looking at him, just like kind of whacking his arm. And pointing with my other hand, like it's a dragon.
Uh, maybe. Well, how big is it?
It looks similar in size to the ones that you had fought recently.
Maybe we should turn back and keep going once we can um windwalk. Not windwalk. Is that windwalk? Is that the name of
Yes.
that spell? Yeah.
Sure. Well, I know what you mean. I think it is anyway, yeah. And bosses, it doesn't make sense. Why would it be this far out here? If it was something from these wastelands that's far from its normal home, whatever that thing is, it should not be here. I do not think it is a dragon that caused these wastes its home. You might have the right idea, Durand. So, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
I mean, I've said my vote. I say we go back and wait until the weather condition is better, until we can turn back
Then
into
walk past
mist
it.
and go past it.
Whatever it, I vote that we definitely do not try to fight it. I mean, oh yeah, I really rather wouldn't, at least.
The risk this good.
You're cutting out, Mac.
Oh. I said going back would be better than to risk if we don't.
Svenkud nods in agreement. There's no reason to fight unnecessary battles. Let's go back and wait out this wind. Elevor?
Yeah, I'll follow everybody.
Durand, since you caused this weather, can you roll another percentile check, please?
I caused this weather. How dare you?
Your percentile
Maybe I
roll
shouldn't.
dictated the weather.
Maybe I shouldn't roll then.
Then the weather never changes. That's how
How
the weather
dare
works.
you?
65.
6-5?
Yeah.
Alright. The wind picks up. It gets worse before it gets better. It gets to the point where you can just barely see through the haze of the... it's almost like a sandstorm, not quite, but you can just barely see through the haze of the wind and dust, the light of the sun coming through. Gets to the point where it does start to sort of sting at your arms and necks and cheeks a bit, but it picks up for maybe about an hour, and over the course of the next 2.5 hours, it begins to die off again and gets to a point of relative calm. You all have backtracked to a spot not as large of a boulder, but just a place that you could get some cover from the wind, and you enjoy, well, you eat, drink, and replenish your energies. And as the wind dies down to a manageable level, you turn back into mist and go forward? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
So the wind has died down. What are you guys doing? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
So back into mist form, and as you take to the sky, you can see that your range of vision is starting to get a bit better as the wind is dying down. You still can't see, especially because you're so up high, the below a certain point because of the amount of dust being kicked up by the wind, but it's starting to get a lot better as the wind dies down and all of that dust and loose sediment begins to settle. You're coming up on the point with the large boulder and the dragon atop it. As you come up on it, it's still there, just as you had left it. Just as you had last seen, rather. Getting closer, you notice that it's that point, that dragon, that boulder that had been attracting all of those scavenging birds, and as you get closer, you notice that the dragon atop this boulder is not alive.
Oh.
Its body lay limp. You can see that a lot of its flesh had been picked away, the scales, and you can see have a lot of their color faded from them. See large gashes and wounds in the sides of the flesh that have not been torn away by the half dozen or more birds that are currently on and picking away at the carcass. What are you guys doing?
Well then. We waited for nothing. suppose at least now we could go faster. I don't, or unless we want to investigate it. But I think this is more of a reason than ever to make haste.
I should like to at least maybe figure out what kind of dragon it is. At the very, I don't propose that we stick around for long. Just figure out whether that's one that calls these wastes its home, or whether it's a chromatic from outside of these badlands.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So Vos is heading down in his mist form towards the dragon.
Me too.
Okay. Is anyone just hanging out up in the sky?
No.
No. Nerdion, you hanging
No.
out? No one's hanging out up in the sky.
You're gonna make me roll perception. So I say, fuck
No,
that.
I just hide in the back so I don't have to make perception rolls. That's my... Okay. So you all head down. And again, a lot of the color had faded due to the necrosis setting in, and it's almost difficult to tell. Somebody make an investigation check.
I'll do it.
Okay. The smell is pretty bad.
I was gonna ask, does wind have a sense of smell? Because it might not be that
do.
bad. Okay.
It's pretty. If you guys can talk in here, I think you guys can smell too. You can see, so why can't you smell? Where your eyeballs as wind, so.
Oh, I rolled a 20
20 total?
total.
So, unfortunately, a lot of the scales, there's not many scales left, and those that are have lost their sheen, lost their color. There are pretty distinguishing patterns, or rather features of this dragon. The long frill that makes its way basically from the very top of the skull all the way down the tail. And you don't remember the black or red dragon that you had faced having that. As a matter of fact, Era, your recollection, your memory, you didn't see that on Sidna, you didn't see it on the black or red dragon that you had fought here, but you remember something similar to that. You remember seeing something similar to that, and you remember a similar feature in the green dragon that you had fought. At least the green dragonborn that had been turned into a dragon had a very similar frill that made its way all the way down the length of its body.
With that knowledge, I'll share it with the group. Kind of make.
Svengrid asks to the group, but directed more at Vos. So do we think that this was another one that was maybe supposed to be in the group that was headed to Drillheim and got caught here by some of the metallics that claim this territory? If the brass dragons that live around here would have seen or caught wind of this, or if this dragon were making trouble in its territory, then I could see that absolutely, yes. Yes, we should consider ourselves lucky that it got taken care of before we had to deal with it.
Do you think? I mean, I know out of respect and stuff you don't encroach on their territory, but I mean, if we fight dragons with dragons, that's just better odds, right?
Not wrong, but I think that we should do what we said we were going to do. Head to Metchroma first, and if any sort of working with the metallic dragons, or any dragons, is to be the decision, it should come from, well, the Draconian leadership. I mean,
Could we at least find a tree? Like,
won't be...
when there are trees again, the closest tree?
Yes, absolutely. We won't find any round here till we make it past these wastes.
Okay. Compromise accepted.
Well, I think we should just move along then. You guys sticking around? You doing some more investigating, Era? Or are you guys ready to head off?
Oops, was muted. No, I think we're good to head off.
Okay. So, you begin to head off. As you do, the wind continues to be calmer. The soot, debris, not soot, the dust and dirt of these wastes begins to settle again, and your vision radius begins to expand beyond what it was when the wind was kicking up all of this extra sediment and whatnot. And as it does, as you're beginning to ascend, just after you finish this conversation, you spot something. As your vision begins to clear, you can see not too far away from this dragon, maybe about another 30 to 50 feet, you can see what looks like the skeletal remains of a dragon claw, connected to what looks like the rest of a dragon, near picked clean as well. And as your vision begins to expand, you can see pretty much out to the horizon of these wastes as the wind near completely dies down. What you see is what looks like the remains of battlefield. Dozens of dragons of unknown types. They're some completely picked clean skeletal, some like this one had a bunch of rotting flesh on the bone, various sizes, various different attributes about them. And scattered about maybe 50 to 100 feet apart, some of them closer together, some of them further, but they said you see dozens of dragon corpses. And that's what we'll pick up next. As you guys just continue to head to Metchroma, probably. As you should. Don't get distracted. I'm telling you, just don't do it. It's okay.
split the party.
True.
anything,
One
this
party
is-
goes ahead.
This is even more reason to get there because this is big. This is bigger than. There aren't dragons to fight dragons anymore because they're all dead. I mean, nobody was surveying the population of dragons, but you know.
The dragon that you found on the rock, that was a green dragon.
Okay, well, we probably need to figure out how many of each. These are, at least do that. Or attempt to, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, you guys got 2 weeks to think about it.
Holy shit.
True.
We'll see you guys then.
Alright.
No, you have 2
The
weeks. to make
wagons.
this crazy.
Take care, guys.
Good
Bye-bye.
day.
Good evening. What's up, Nimue?